Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Explain America. I'm your host, Carmine Sabia, and Florida Republican Representative Matt Gaetz had a terrifying experience with a woman who assaulted him in public, managed to hit another man with him as well. Folks, before we get started, please take the time to like, comment, share, and subscribe. That kind of stuff really helps us out and really helps our channel to grow. So the congressman was out with his constituents this weekend when apparently, and the news just broke today, a woman assaulted him in public and the police had to get involved. Now, Congressman Gaetz has said he's going to press charges, and, this thing just went out of control. This is a woman who is a self-described member of the resistance and who is virulently far left, apparently, according to Mr. Gaetz, Representative Gaetz, and she just took her anger and her frustrations out in a way that we should never do as Americans. Let's go ahead and hear Mr. Gaetz tell the story on his podcast.
So in Northwest Florida right now, it's festival season. Don't think Coachella or Bonnaroo or Burning Man. Think more seafood and art and culture and wine. You see, in the spring months of April and May and in the fall months of September and October, in Northwest Florida, we don't have the usual rush of summer-driven tourism. And so we call those times in the spring and in the fall our shoulder season. And during shoulder season, a lot of entities come together to put on a songwriter festival or a seafood festival or a wine festival or an art festival, because that brings people in when the weather is warm, when the fish are biting, when life is great, and there are hotel accommodations and lodging accommodations, usually at a bit of a deal. And our world-class restaurants are able to show off, and they've got plenty of tables available while people are here. This past Saturday, my wife Ginger and I attended the South Walton Beaches Wine and Food Festival at Grand Boulevard in Sandestin in Walton County, Florida. And we were enjoying catching up with new friends and old, and folks recognized me, and so we were taking pictures and having polite conversations. And as I was chatting with one gentleman, a lady threw a drink on the both of us, and she was promptly arrested. I want to thank the great folks at the Walton County Sheriff's Office who ensured that this did not escalate and that everyone is kept safe. And I want folks to know why we press charges in circumstances like this. It's quite all right for folks to let their voice heard with an opinion or a comment. Folks can shout and scream all they want. This is America, and people ought to be able to say what they believe, what they desire, even offer criticisms or critiques of people in public life. But if we start allowing stuff to be thrown or hurled, if we allow people to be harmed, there is a severe risk of escalation and accident. And we don't want to see anyone in harm's way, whether it's family members, supporters, or even our detractors. We want them to be safe too, but when they really cross the Rubicon beyond just words to throwing stuff and striking me and striking a gentleman I was speaking with a drink, well then that really has caused harm to our community, and it's something that we want to contain and extinguish and not see going forward. So as I understand it, the person who was arrested is Selena Chambers. She was charged with 2 counts of battery, and of course, she is a left-wing author. Her stuff is not exactly my type. It seems after the 2016 election, based on some of her writing, she became very obsessed with Donald Trump, and she began engaged in something called resistance expression. And I'm quoting directly from one of her works here, quote, "Resistance is expression that can take a physical form." She's also a donor to the Joe Biden presidential campaign. She talked about her emotional turmoil following the 2016 election, and just going through some of the stuff she's written, it is really bizarre. She writes about feminist surrealism, and I had to review what that entailed, and she says that women need a surrealist survivor kit, and it needs to include psychoanalysis, mythology, memoirs, Satanism. There's connections to Wiccan life in some of this. So very strange, but you know what? Whenever there's a conservative who acts out of line, it's like the biggest story in the world. But when you get a radicalized leftist breaking the peace in my community, who traveled here, by the way, from Tallahassee, Florida, I doubt it'll get the same pickup, but we'll make sure that there are appropriate consequences through the legal system, because that's what the safety of our community demands.
You know, folks, it's never okay to attack a politician or anybody because you disagree with them. That's never okay. We live in the United States. We have voting booths. We have ways to express our differences with politicians. You can write a letter. You can make a phone call to their office. You could even confront them in public and talk to them. But what you can't do is assault them. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. I don't care if they're a Democrat or a Republican. We take it to the voting booth. We take it to the phones and the letters and protests even. But you don't do that. Now, this woman will be prosecuted, and who knows if she's going to have to serve any time, pay a fine, or whatever. But is it worth it? Is it worth it to now have a mark on her record just because she can't stand Representative Matt Gaetz? It's a shame what this nation is coming to, folks, and I pray that someday we get back to normal civil discourse. Ladies and gentlemen, again, my name is Carmine Sabia. This is Explain America. Thank you for watching. We love you guys. God bless you. Take care, everybody.